Jordan with Morse Aircraft Development, and welcome back to our instructional videos. Today we're going to be covering a new product from PowerBox, which is the Magic Jeti Switch. And what this allows us to do is take a third receiver from Jeti and plug it directly into the switch port on a Royal, a Champion, or any of the PowerBoxes. I have the black in edition. This is for the Champions and the PowerBox Royal. They also make it in the red in connector, so you can even use this all the way back to some of the older Royals or any of the cockpits or anything like that that you want to use. You still use two connectors coming off your receiver 1 and receiver 2, so you're going to use two of your 3-channel Jeti receivers that are now giving you 24 channels into the PowerBox. Your screen still is going to be there. The normal switch that comes with the PowerBoxes for programming, you're still going to want to retain this in your flight box or radio case for field adjustments, because this is still the primary device for programming that until we get the Bluetooth modules talking to these that PowerBox has for setup. The reason that's not out yet and the software is not available yet to do that is because it's honestly so easy to just go through and do it with the switch that it hasn't been as high a demand as it was for getting the 1Es and the 3Es and such hooked up to that Bluetooth terminal so far. For this demonstration, we're going to be using the PowerBox 2800 LiPos. Great batteries. I run them in almost anything that has PowerBox, which is pretty much every airplane I run that's in of any size. We're going to be running the Jeti R3. These are also used as switches. So in this case, we're going to run 2 as the receivers, and then we're going to run 1 as the remote switch, which will allow us to plug this into the side of the PowerBox, this into the third receiver, and the third receiver gets its power from this switch, just like when you walk up and you hold the button down and you push battery 1, battery 2. We're going to be doing the same thing here, except it's going to power both batteries simultaneously. So that third receiver, or what we're using as a switch, will always be powered as long as the batteries are plugged into the PowerBox. I sent a message off to Richard. I haven't heard back because it's the weekend. But if it's like Jeti systems where when you use the remote switch, you have to unplug your batteries at the end of the day or plug them in at the beginning of the day because there's a constant drain monitoring. I don't know inside here if there's some sort of system that shuts it off. I'm assuming that there's not, that it's just like Jeti's system where you have to unplug the batteries at the end of the day so that this receiver is not powered the whole time you're storing your aircraft, which it's a good idea to unplug your batteries from your PowerBox systems anyway at the end of the day. It's something that I practice. We're going to be setting it up today on the Jeti, on the DS16. This is my 2016 version for flying season. Right here, you've got what I like to add to my radio is this lockout switch where you have to pull it and then move it to lock it out. And if you're going to use a system like this with remote activation of your aircraft, I would suggest having this switch. That way you can't accidentally bump it and knock it off. Normally on my gassers that don't have a PowerBox system, which isn't really any at this point, but I don't run this system. It's a brand new system, so I may add another one of these because I use this for my ignition kill also. So we'll have to add a switch to the other side or in front of that one. Which the nice thing about Jeti is you can add as many of those as you like. So we're going to go ahead and cut to programming this. Obviously I'm going to skip the steps of how to bind your Jeti receivers because anybody at this point probably knows how to do that. So we're going to move on to that section now and get it all set up, and I'll be right back with you. Okay, so what we've done is we went ahead and we've bound our 3 receivers, 2 of which are your control output receivers. You're going to set up double path mode in your wireless switches and trainers menu in your Jeti. You're going to do that first, and then you're going to go in and you're going to bind receiver 1 and then bind or pair receiver number 2. On top of that, under your model, you'll go down to Device Explorer, and that's where you can set up to put each one of these into UDI output. And what's really cool is in UDI output, that gives you the ability on your Jeti, receiver 1 is Jeti box 1, receiver 2 is Jeti box 2. So when you plug in your telemetry sensors into those, whether you're running splitters or not, for instance, in a jet, what we'll do is we'll run the telemetry from usually we're using the Zycoy FC1 now. So that'll plug in. We have complete control over the turbine off of Jeti box 1. Then Jeti box 2 receives all of our other sensors, our airspeed, our fuel flow, air pressure, anything else that we're running, another GPS sensor that we're running. That's kind of off the subject of what we're talking about today, but I wanted to throw that out there. And then also, you'll bring your telemetry out of the power box and also into your second receiver. I like to reserve receiver 1 for only the turbine, so that when I bring up Jeti box 1 on my screen, I can see everything that's happening with the turbine and don't have to plug in my handheld ground unit basically at that point. So back to this, we've set up receiver 1, receiver 2, double path mode set to UDI. So we're good there. We're going to be talking to the power box with no issues. Then what we want to do is we want to go, and I'll show you guys on the screen here in a minute. I just wanted to show you an overview of everything, how it lays out in the airplane, and how it works. I'll show you how to actually set it up here in a second. But then what we're going to do is we're going to take our third receiver, put the bind plug in it. I actually did this the other way around. I made my switch first and then bound my 2 receivers, but you can do it anyway. And you're going to make this the switch. And the switch works on output 3, which is your control output, just like it is for UDI out, EX bus out, anything, PPM out. They all come out of the control output. So basically it comes right out of this. It goes to the switch input here on the power box. It asks you which switch you want to use. Basically put the switch in the off position. Click on the part of the screen where it is asking you which switch. Switch it to the on position. You're good to go. If you happen to do it backwards, there's an easy, you push the middle button, it reverses it, you're good to go. So just to show you guys here, I'm going to power on the radio. The power box is plugged in, everything just like it normally would be right when you're ready to fly.
Please insert 25 cents to play.
And then what we're going to do is the first thing it says is turn the model on. So what we're going to do is we're going to, because I had it flipped off, so right there, what we're going to do now is turn it on. It asks us, are you sure you want to turn the model on? We're going to say yes. And the power box comes on.
Receiver bound.
Tells us our receivers are bound. So right there, walking up to the airplane, you can turn your complete airplane system on. The other thing about Jeti is prior to doing that, it will ask you if you have any of your fail-safes set up for switch position. Not necessarily a fail-safe, but switch position for power up. It will ask you, are all your switches in the right position prior to turning this on? So make sure your gear's down and anything else that you have, done electronically through the aircraft. And then you simply, to turn it off, you flip the switch. It says shut down the model. You click on yes, and immediately you'll start to get the
signal lost.
Signal lost.
Signal lost.
What we'll go ahead and do is now I'll do an overhead view of the radio and the setup. The setup on the power box side don't really need to show you because there's nothing to do besides programming this through the Jeti module. This is a sweet setup. Prior to this, we couldn't do this with Jeti and PowerBox. You would have to run Jeti's central box systems, which are a good system, but I honestly think that PowerBox is the best power supply system out there. The integration, the simplicity of setting them up, and the name in and of itself just screams quality, and I wouldn't run anything else in any other airplane. So it's nice now that with the Jeti radios, which is in the top of the line of the radio manufacturers right now, we now have integration into PowerBox, and PowerBox has dedicated some serious time into integration with Jeti as well. So it's nice to see two companies working together to bring us some of the best products in the RC world. So let's go ahead and do an overview of how to set it up real quick, and then that'll conclude this video. Thank you. Okay, so here I'm going to show you how to set it up in your radio. First thing we're going to do, power it up. Yes. And as you can see right now, I'm already set in double path. This is my PowerBox R&D testing model that I made. So you're going to want to go to Menu, and the first thing you're going to do is go down to Advanced Properties. And this is before you bind anything. And go to Wireless Modes and Trainer. And right here, you're going to click. You can see I've already done it. So you're going to click on that, and it defaults to default. So you're going to come down and you're going to click double path, and you're going to hit OK. It's going to ask you to pair your primary transmit module. So at that point, what you're going to do is take receiver 1, put your bind plug in, or your pairing plug, hook it to power, and you're going to click, and that'll be an X. So you're going to scroll down and you're going to click on it, and it will bind the first one. Leave that one plugged into power. Power up your second one with the pairing plug in the second receiver, and go ahead and push your enter key on that one. It'll be an X, and it'll go back and forth between an hourglass and the X until it binds. Once it pairs, you're good to go. You've got both of them paired up. Go ahead and pull the pairing plug out of that. Then what you're going to do is you're going to exit out, and you're going to go up to Model. And here, you're going to come down to Device Explorer, and it'll show both of these. So right now, mine's not powered up, but let me go ahead with the remote switch. We're going to turn the model on, and you're going to see that both of them come on right there. So we've got receiver 1, receiver 2, and the RC switch. So what you're going to want to do is go into receiver 1, and here where it says UDI, it won't. It will say Jeti Box and Servo. So you're going to want to make it UDI if you're using telemetry, which all of us usually are, seeing as how the PowerBox will put out telemetry of its own. So use UDI, and then hit OK, and then hit OK. Come down to your second receiver, do the same thing. The third thing you're going to do is click on RC switch, and here you can see the ID code because my third receiver has already been done. And what you're going to do is you're going to put the pairing plug or bind plug into channel 4 or the EXT/telemetry port, power that up, and then you're going to, right here where it says pair RC switch, it'll be an X. You'll click on it, it'll pair just like it did your receivers, and you're good to go there. Next thing you're going to do is you're going to come down to here, and you're going to flip, at the time you're going to flip your switch to the off position. Click on this, flip your switch to the on position like it is now, you'll get the check mark. If you have it backwards, just go ahead and hit reverse, and that will reverse the way the switch works. So once you're good there, now you've set up your RC switch, you've set up both your receivers, they're in double path, they're in UDI, you're good to go. So now, all you have to do is turn the receiver on or off, which is actually turning the whole system on and off. So you'll see here, and if you don't have this lockout switch, Jeti gives you this warning, do you really want to shut down the model? And it only gives you about 4 seconds to make that choice, and then it goes back to not shutting it down. But you're in the off position, so you're going to get this warning, check the position up top. And then if you go this way, obviously you're back in the on position. You never did really turn it down, or turn it off. I'm sorry, I was messing with my volume. So when you go to click it off, it's going to say, are you sure? And like I said, yes, we're sure. It shuts it off, and we'll get
Signal
our signal
lost.
lost.
Signal lost.
And that is how that works. So if we wanted to, we could turn the model back on. And as you can see here, it's asking us, do we want to turn it on? Yes, we do. And now
Receiver
our model turns
bound.
on. Our receivers are bound. And we're good to go. It's as easy as that. So until next time, Hope you guys have fun with this piece of equipment from PowerBox. It's great equipment, and I would like to thank Richard and Emmerich from PowerBox over in Germany for giving me one to test out. We've had it in an airplane now for a couple weeks, and it works great. Haven't had any issues. And right off the bat, we put it in about a $15,000 jet and never thought twice because it's made by PowerBox. So you guys can have confidence in this equipment. It will work, and it's a nice piece of equipment to have out at the field.